Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Wednesday here on ChronoSpeakeasy.com. I'm your host, Paul, joined with Rob.
Hello there, everybody.
And Chandler.
Why, hello there. Yeah, WWE.
It'd be great if we had like our own intro music. It's just like a 10-minute intro.
Yep.
Anyway,
It's all just we're all WWE wrestlers. We all have our own walk-in music.
oh my god,
It takes forever. It's a lot of theatrics. It's great though,
dude. I would love to have like I know they're not sparklers, but you know those big indoor like
Pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then a couple of models coming out. And then like have this big fanfare, and then the most unimpressive human specimen walks out. And I'm like, hey guys. Anyway, so yeah, today we're talking about Spider-Verse, the book, and I'm excited to dive in because I just read it, Rob's read it, Chandler's read some of it, and so there's going to be spoilers if you haven't read the book, or the books, or the event. Because that's, I think calling this an event, I think is a good way to describe it. What do you guys think?
It's definitely throwbacky to like your 90s event, for sure. The way it's structured.
Yeah, when I read of it, it seems really cool. I'll probably spend this episode being the kid-friendly point of view character, so I'll ask a lot of questions.
You're going to be the avatar for those who haven't read it.
Exactly.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, and there is definitely a lot of kind of stuff going into it. And
yeah, I read most of the pre-Spider-Verse stuff too. I read I found like a reading list, and I read everything that was considered prelude up. So I didn't read a lot of the very before stuff. Like, I don't know the history of the spider totems or who Ezekiel is and
that I can speak to a little bit. So first of all, before we really get into the nitty-gritty, the weeds or the webs, if you will, there was a character named Peter Parker, Spider-Man. You know, gets bitten by a radioactive spider, has all these fun adventures, and Spider-Verse is essentially it's like Elseworld on crack, where it's like all of the different possible variations of Spider-Man teaming up to stop one big colossal threat. And
it's kind of like Jet Li's The One, if Jet Li was killing a different version of somebody else in all those different universes.
Yeah, I think that works. That's a good way to describe it.
Because definitely more people who listen to this have seen The One than have read this wildly popular Spider-Man story.
Right.
Big Jet Li fans here.
Yeah.
So, and the villain, Morlun, he was a creation of J. Michael Straczynski. And it's kind of perfect for me to read Spider-Verse because I haven't read Spider-Man in a while. I kind of gave up for a long period of time. But J. Michael Straczynski was one of the reasons why I fell in love with Spider-Man, with the John Romita Jr. art. And so when Straczynski stepped in as Spider-Man, when he stepped in to write Spider-Man, his first villain, the first arc was Morlun, was like this, almost like this vampire type dude that like would just kind of drink the energy of those with like a spider like energy, this like totem, and it was a cool arc. And this guy Ezekiel, who could also walk on walls and had a spider sense, he was sort of like trying to let Peter know, hey, there's this villain on the horizon, yada yada yada. Training montage, and it had a kind of a cool beginning, middle, and end with a really cool cliffhanger of Aunt May finding out finally that Peter's Spider-Man. And so I was sort of disappointed when Morlun was coming back because I thought it was like kind of a great beginning, middle, and end piece. So he comes back, he gets defeated, and then he comes back again the third time, and this is Spider-Verse, where it's Morlun and his family. It's a family affair. And like Rob said, it's like the one where they kind of go on this great hunt where they jump across other dimensions where they eat other people who have spider powers like you do. And so despite that very brief prologue I just gave, I think a really great place to start is the Edge of Spider-Verse, because that's where we kind of get introduced to new characters that are kind of key supporting players. This is where we get Spider-Gwen, and like I don't know the official name of the Japanese girl in the robot suit, but she had her own Spider-Verse issue.
Yeah, these are all fun little one-shots. I really liked... you said, yeah, the Japanese girl with the spider suit is really interesting. Spider-Gwen was fun.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who was like kind of a robot, like he wore like a Spider-Man suit. I thought
he was almost like Batman. But
yeah,
with spiders. That it was sort of like a Batman Tony Stark type thing. And
then Spider-Punk.
Yeah, well, you know what I liked that we really didn't kind of get more of. I mean, because the character died in the end, but was like when Peter Parker was bitten by a spider, then he was becoming like a monster, like he was like becoming like a serial killer.
That one was cool.
Yeah, I like that one.
Wait, what?
Yeah, there's like a Edge of Spider-Verse where he's bitten by a spider and he just like this like hunger like takes over, and his Uncle Ben was like a total asshole, and he like eats him.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I actually liked it a lot, but Moreland came in the end and he ate him, and but it was a cool one shot. As far as one shots go,
I jumped in. I think the first thing I read, let me see here, was a couple of the Amazing Spider-Man issues that kind of introduced Silk, who was kind of a big player in this whole arc, who I had seen, I'd seen the Silk comics and I'd seen the Spider-Gwen comics, but I kind of fell out of Spider-Man in general around the middle to the end of the J. Michael Straczynski arc in like 2008 or 9.
Yeah, One More Day.
Yeah, the whole One More Day, No More Days, the
New Day, End of Days.
I fell out. I fell out hard from 616 Spider-Man. I've been reading Ultimate for its entire time, basically, but this is the most Spider-Man I've read since then.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. It's basically just Dan Slott kind of filled that whole gap, right? Like he was the architect.
Yeah, and and Chandler and I were talking about this a little before about how, because Chandler was, you were saying how you were kind of having a hard time just getting through this event.
Yeah, it was really dense.
And so, and I feel like, so when I got my Marvel Unlimited subscription, I thought, well, I'll read after One More Day because I've paid my, $75 for the year. It's not like I'm buying the issues per se. So I read everything after One More Day. And I think that is what made Spider-Verse a little bearable, was because I was just sort of initiated in so much that had taken place prior to Spider-Verse. So I feel like, if you haven't read any of the Spider-Man stuff, this is a hard jumping on point.
I mean, it was very dense, but I kind of just saw it as a weird like it almost felt like an Avengers book, but like one of those big ones where they bring in like fucking weird Avengers that were in like one issue in the 70s, and you're like, who the hell is this guy?
Jack of Hearts, who's this?
Yeah, but they're all Spider-Men, so I'm like, all right, whatever. They're all just goofy Elseworlds. And I've always been a sucker for Elseworlds and the multiverse and what ifs and all that crap. So
well, Multiverse was your favorite DC book.
What was that called? Fucking Convergence? Was it called
There's Multiversity, then there's Convergence.
Yeah, Convergence. I know that was Rob's favorite.
Oh my god. Fuck Convert. I can't believe I bought those books. It still bums me out that I supported that monetarily.
Oh wow. Well, that's
I'd say if you're a big Spider-Man nerd, I thought there was some fun stuff in there, but it is dense. Good. It is definitely dense, and I had no idea what the fuck was going on with Morlun and the spider totems and the spider strands, and I don't even know how to explain
pilgrim vampires.
I know.
Yeah, they're like with their buckles.
With their buckles.
Yeah, so basically, the part I started reading that was like directly related to the Spider-Verse was the Superior Spider-Man issues, not episodes, where it basically is like
that is a hell of a fun run. with Doc Ock.
Yeah, actually made me really interested in reading about it because like I liked him as like the focal character for like the first couple of issues. So like, I want to read more of Doc Ock Spider-Man.
Yeah, the idea of that always seemed weird to me, but reading this, I was like, all right, this is kind of funny. I could see this.
It's one of those things where when you hear the idea, like if somebody pitched this to me, like, okay, guys, so then Doc Ock on his deathbed, through science, brain swaps with Peter. So Peter is in Doc Ock's dying body, and Doc Ock is Spider-Man. I'd be like, that is fucking stupid. Like, I remember hearing, I'm like, that is the dumbest thing. But again, thanks to Marvel Unlimited, I was like, well, I'm not actually, I've already paid for this service, might as well use it. And I loved it. It's just basically Dr. Octopus as Spider-Man. And he kind of, it's interesting because he's like, I'm going to ruin Peter Parker's life. And then he's like, but he also has Peter's memories. He learns about Uncle Ben and great power responsibility. He's like, well, okay, I'm going to do the superhero thing, but I'm going to do it better. I'm going to be the superior Spider-Man. But the way he's written, it's like, how does nobody notice Peter acting weird? He's using big words he never would have never would have used. It's
being
like
a dick.
That was the only thing. I'm like, isn't this odd that he went from like, oh hey everybody, it's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. He's like, you imbecilic moron, you've been defeated by the superior Spider-Man. And it's like, really, no one is catching on that he's different, has a different
twirling his mustache.
I mean, yeah, but that's actually my only complaint because I really enjoyed that series, and so having the Doc Ock Spider-Man, the Superior Spider-Man in this was great, especially where they're kind of competing for who's going to lead the rest of the spiders. So that's my Spider-Verse tangent, or my Superior Spider-Man tangent.
But yeah, so like the issues I read, I think that's kind of when they introduced the idea of spiders being hunted down. And that's when you first see Karn, I think it is the sibling who has like the pitchfork and the weird red iron mask.
Oh, yeah.
His weird like Victorian like scuba suit helmet.
Well, you know what's funny? I actually couldn't help but think of the Man in the Iron Mask with Leonardo DiCaprio because I feel like that's like what they were going for because they kind of just have this like, well, maybe my timetable's off, but I feel like just with that sort of like, they almost have this Victorian garb kind of going on, and he's this exiled son with a mask because
he had feelings and didn't want to kill.
Yeah, he wanted to be vegan.
It's not a phase, Mom.
I think a lot of the prelude stuff was kind of important to understand what the hell was actually going on in the actual Spider-Verse book. But I think it was probably the weakest stuff. It was a lot of like one-shots just kind of being like, hey, this is this version of Spider-Man. He's got a cool jacket. Hey, this is Spider-Man Noir. Hey, this is Punk Spider-Man. Hey, this is Spider-Pam or whatever. And this one's a monkey.
Yeah. I did like the beginning where you think you know where you are, but in actuality you're in a version of the Marvel Universe where Spider-Man lives on the moon in like new New York.
Oh, yeah.
Or it was like Armstrong Lake or whatever. Like I thought that was kind of a cool intro. And you can't beat that Oliver Coppel art.
No, I mean, goddamn, he's so good.
I mean, bring it back to Straczynski for a second, but like him and Oliver Coppel on the Thor run was pretty dope.
Yeah,
that was a dope Thor run. But the art is great when it's not to knock the other artists, but Rob, I know you and I kind of share the same complaint of shifting artists,
especially mid issue, and in this series there is vast shifts in art, but it's intentional because like
different
there's
dimensions.
literal. In the comic, they're like, is that a cartoon pig? So, like, you just get the idea that in their universe, there's a walking cartoon. And then there's, like, so the whole Spider-Man universe is covered, like, all of it. Like, the 1990s cartoon version. There's even,
the
like,
60s.
The 60s version. There's a Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends at one point. It shows them brutally murdered in their apartment.
I also
and
love the...
they're all drawn different in the panels.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was going to say the panels that show like the different art styles throughout are pretty sweet.
Right. I did also like that they even included the live-action Japanese Spider-Man show with his own, like, Megazoid, whatever, Gundam thing.
Yeah, he played a pretty big part, too, which is hilarious.
Yeah. So I did enjoy it for that reason, because I was like, oh my god, like, it's like all of your versions of Spider-Man. See, what I like about these type of Elseworld type things, which I know is a DC term, but it sort of just acknowledges, like, whatever your favorite version of Spider-Man is. Like, it's almost like
hey, it still exists somewhere in this vast sea of Marvel.
Right, yeah, and yeah, it was just really well done. And I love that and even if there was a costume difference, like, oh, I come from a universe where I didn't change the costume. Or, like, there's a universe where I never let go of the power cosmic. And I was always, like, the universal Spider-Man or whatever he was called. So, yeah, I liked it. And I even have to say, I don't know if you, Rob, read the tie-ins, but I
read a lot of them.
I like the tie-ins too. Chandler, you had a thought.
Oh, I just wanted to take a moment to complain about, like,
I've got something to say.
My only complaint is, like, I hate it when there's, like, a new villain and they always, like, start jobbing the stronger characters in order to, like, prove how strong they are. So, like, I think in one of the tie-in issues, like, he, like, immediately kills Wolverine and, like, the Assassin Spider-Man storyline.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? He's Wolverine. I mean, like, come on. Wolverine's, like, basically indestructible. Don't just,
Not just that, but, like, Wolverine could,
lazy.
like, hold his own against Spider-Man, and Spider-Man beats up Moreland, so it's like, balance your shit a little bit here.
Right. It's just, like, lazy writing. I just wish, like, they would just, like, I don't know, not do stuff like
maybe that Wolverine wasn't as powerful as the Wolverine that we know.
Maybe that's that was from the X-Men, I don't know, some weird cartoon version.
It was probably like that 80s Scottish Superman, with Pride of the X-Men with Kitty Pryde. He's probably
yeah.
Oh, Kitty, you're going to be great. Welcome to the X-Men.
I gotta say, just in general, I don't think I was a huge fan of the Inheritors as, like, a squad of bad guys.
No, yeah. I actually would have been... I mean, I understand why they did it, but I don't know, I wasn't wild about the family dynamic. I think I would be okay if it was just, like, another species of people, but I don't know. There's
like one or two, like, just like Moreland and, like, Karn, like,
there's
like villains.
I was like, okay, their dad was there, but then he gets killed. I'm like, there's too many goddamn people to
like,
learn.
Twins and shit. I'm just imagining like the Trumps. Like you got like Trump and Ivanka and the dumb one and like just like Jared.
I do think. Like I was gonna say, just like Chandler said, if there's just like the two of them, like the siblings, one like Karn doesn't want to do it. Like if there's just like a little dynamic family wise, but there's too many.
Yeah, there's
already crowded storyline anyway.
And they kind of look the same. Like sometimes I would think, oh wait, is that Moreland? Oh no, I've been reading
same. I thought Moreland and Karn were the same person.
Right, I just been reading this whole issue thinking it's one dude and he wasn't. It's like, oh well, that drastically changes how I've read this story. So that was sort of like no one could like get a haircut. They all have to have like the widow's peak receding hairline mullet thing going on. It's like
so I'm looking at a page here, and there's their dad, who's like the big giant white-haired guy. There's Moreland, who's just, looks like a jacked vampire. He has a brother that's a jacked vampire with mutton chops. That's kind of the only differentiating factor. There's the twins. There's like the weird, creepy lady with Princess Leia hair.
Yeah.
And then the old guy with Mr. Fantastic hair going on, who like clones people.
Like,
too many people.
It was like they were really hung up on Interview with the Vampire and like, let's have a bunch of Lestots. Lestat into the Lestat verse. Like it's just we'll just have different ages of Tom Cruise being the villain from Interview with the Vampire. So, but I mean, yeah, and and I always like my villains to have a little bit more complexity other than I'm really hungry, which is a key primal motivation. Don't get me wrong, but it was like
I'm hungry.
Just like and when they're all like at the dinner table and they have their like own spider people, but Daddy, I want to eat it now. It's like
that's weird.
What? But the idea of spider people coming together, I think, is great.
Yeah, and I think there's some kind of cool stuff behind the idea of like spider senses being based off of like cosmic knowledge. So it's more than just like an animal instinct. It's something grander is kind of a cool idea. It's like borderline midichlorian, kind of adding too much to it, but
I would have been down for we have to harness their energy to make a thing, to make a doomsday device, or not just because like we need it to survive. Make it survival, but for like different reasons. Like if they like we're using them like batteries for our own Lestat matrix or whatever. I feel like there's like.
But no, the weird spider guy that they listen to but also don't respect is telling them to do stuff.
Right, and was ultimately their downfall. He's like, I've been hanging upside down for 8,000 years and all the blood has rushed to my head.
Oh, God.
And I don't want to do it anymore. Like,
I'm a big fan of like kind of like the mysticizing of like the spider mythos. I wish it was kind of like more based in science and technology.
Well, you know what I always liked about Spider-Man was that it was random. That there wasn't like there wasn't a bigger picture at play. It was just like this random fucking thing happened, and now you're Spider-Man. It was almost, it kind of felt like that portion of the Marvel universe was unpredictable.
Yeah,
that like anything could happen. But again, I think if you could do that as well as, it's hard because I don't want to get into spoilers about the Spider-Verse movie, but I like their explanation of it versus the book.
Yeah, totally. That was much more sciencey.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just say that it's more sciencey than like almost like
a spider god spinning fate.
Yeah. But you know what I thought was kind of, speaking of lazy writing, there's a part in the tie-in where I think Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, she's in the Lestat-verse homeworld.
Lestat-verse.
Marvel Universe 001.
Yeah.
Loom World.
And Loom World, right. And she was like, and I guess she looks exactly like one of the wives of one of the inheritors or whatever. And
so one of the inheritors took an alternate version universe of her and basically made her like his trophy wife.
Yeah.
Because in all universes, Spider-Woman's just a babe. So
yeah. And she's like, oh, what a coincidence that I would look like this woman so I could sneak in. And then the Weaver is like, or is it? It isn't. I did it.
It was me. I did this.
So it's like, wait. So does that mean? So that means every break they get, it's almost like he was like the MacGuffin. He was like the luck machine, where anytime they caught a break, it was like
explained away with this little Deus Ex Machina type thing.
Right. So he's like, I'm manipulating the universe and the multiverse, but I'm also manipulating the inebriators. What the hell are they called? Inheritors?
Inebriators.
What are they inheriting? It's not like they get spider powers from.
I know, it's kind of weird because they make them seem like they're this long ancient, like they're from the original world. They've been around forever. The whole universe is around this Loom world, but they can't even go on a planet that has radiation. Like, but you're like these all powerful gods. Like, come on.
Yeah, and also, what are you inheriting? It's like the Avengers. What are you avenging? There was an idea to bring about a group of people with widow-peaked receding hairlines who would come together and inherit the things that we couldn't.
And like to eat bugs.
Spider totems, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and the radioactive thing, I mean, that like... I don't know. I think that's the problem with.
Can you explain the radioactive thing? Like they said they don't like radiation.
At one point in one of the offshoots, one-shot things, I think where they're chasing Silk and she's jumping through dimensions and she ends up in looks like basically the end of Man of Steel. It's like decimated.
It is Earth 3145, Paul. You should know this.
Apologies.
You guys should adjust your glasses, Rob.
I know. Actually,
I have one of those pages open right next to me. So,
so when they follow Silk, they're like, oh, like I can't, She's like, oh, it's so hard to breathe here, and I think the brother jumps in. He's like, aha! He's like, oh no, I can't sustain my existence here, and his sister pulls him out, and so there's like this basically universe where Dr. Octopus like blows up the planet, and it's just all radioactive waste, and so they can't go there. And I think that's sort of the problem. I think when you have a villain that's just too powerful, that you have to like find ways for them to Yeah.
If they just made them like more normal in the beginning, it would have been fine. But
Right,
like,
exactly.
no, they're like so invincible they can kill Wolverine.
They're so invincible they can kill Wolverine, but whatever the other Scarlet Spider can just fucking shank him, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, this kind of, I don't know,
Inconsistent.
inconsistent with the power base, which is, whatever. I mean, that's been a flaw of all comics since forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, and and I did want to talk about the vaults, because I think it's interesting that, so you have Silk, who in the Revelation, thanks to another event, original Sin, we find out that the same spider that bit Peter also bit her.
What a slut.
I know, that spider. Ooh, it gets around. And then Ezekiel is like, well, I got to put you in a vault. It's too late for Peter because we can't think of a good reason why. So she's been just living in this vault for like years.
And when she comes out, she's in a tube top with like unbuttoned booty shorts. I'm just like, what was Ezekiel keeping this teenage girl dressed like this in here for?
Right?
With a bunch of microwavable dinners, just watching videos of Spider-Man. So it's like she knows who he is, but he has no idea who she is. And
There's
her
some
first
pants.
costume is like, she just webs herself, and it's like it's kind of skanky.
Well,
I thought-
target demographic.
I thought Silk was kind of a cool character though. I had
Oh no, she's a cool character. I'm not. I guess I'm just sort of bashing like her origin. Like I think the idea of there
it felt
being another.
incredibly rushed.
Oh yeah.
Like for a character who is such an integral part of this, like her origin story is literally like 6 pages of an issue. It seems
She's
like.
been here the whole time.
Yeah,
Right.
basically, Spider-Man
Don't
like
think
opens
about
a
it.
vault, and this girl jumps out and starts attacking, then runs away, and he chases her, and then they start making out because apparently their pheromones just
Right.
they
But
need
you
to
know
make
what?
out with each other, which
You
I
know
thought was
what?
kind of funny because it kept coming up in funny
Right.
situations. But
But I think what would have made, I think, for a better story is that I like the idea of her being bitten by the same spider. What I would have done, this is the issue that nobody asked for. Welcome back to Paul Writes. I would have made it so she's bitten by the spider, but nothing happens. It's only when the Lestat people start hunting that her powers start to like activate. That there's like a shift in the cosmic equilibrium where she's like, "Oh God, I have the spider sense and I can walk on walls and I want to make out with this guy." You know, like I feel like that would have been cooler than, oh, let's just lock this bitch up in a vault for a decade.
so I haven't read any of the Silk standalone stuff. Has that any of you?
I read the first.
I started and stopped.
Does it just kind of pick up with her working at like the TV station and
Yeah.
not really go back
Yeah.
to her origin?
Yeah,
Okay.
I read the. I mean, granted, I only read the one issue, but I liked it. Chandler seems a little less impressed, but
I mean, it was cool.
what
I
else
mean,
is new?
Silently judging every comic in existence.
I do think for like
Chandlerverse.
Silk is the kind of character that usually comes across as like lazy and uninteresting, which arguably Silk is pretty lazy origin story. There's just another one in a vault somewhere. But I think, I don't know, design wise, I think her final costume's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like how the
And
buttons on her
she's-
fingertips.
Yeah,
Which
and I
feels
think
Like
just like
Ultimate Spider-Woman.
It just feels like the like. Can you imagine swinging by your fingers like that? Shit, you like your hands would be broken.
Right.
Your fingers are
she's
tearing
probably
up all-
pretty strong. You know, she got those rock climber hands.
I mean, it's true. I mean, if Peter can land on
Lots
his
of
feet from
push-ups in
like
the vault.
60 feet and not shatter his legs, then yeah, I guess she can do that with her fingertips.
I don't know what it is. I think it's something that just there's such a long history of different Spider-Men that I guess I just don't care as much. Where when they're just like, hey, now there's a second Wolverine or some shit. Like, oh, come on.
Yeah. It's also like very kind of like recycled, like, oh, hey, female version of male hero. It's just kind of like, okay.
Yeah, like the weird gender swap hero thing usually seems lazy. I don't know. Silk was cool. I liked her character throughout. I loved like different spider relationships. I love how Spider-Woman is just like the responsible older woman spider, like the one you can trust. She's
Right.
like, God damn these fucking kids!
Cool
I'll get
big
this
sis.
shit done.
Well, you know, what? I did. I mean, I've always liked. It is Jessica Drew, right? Spider Woman. Okay, I want to be like get it confused. Like, is it? Yeah. Anyway, I did like that. That her role ended because she wasn't she had her own shit to do. I like that she wasn't just like a. I mean, granted, she's a supporting character, but I like that in her, her side stories, she was like a big player. And I do like the inclusion of, now I'm just thinking about it, some of the other Spider-Man characters, because I love that they brought in the stuff from the Marvel Noir series. Like, I love the Spider-Man Noir was included. I love that. Remember when Marvel had that phase where they're trying to make, like, manga?
Yep.
Like, I love that Japanese
Mangaverse.
Spider-Man was in there. Like, I love that.
Literally
like,
black and white.
Like,
it looks like it's printed on newspaper stock. But yeah, there's like 3 Japanese ones.
Right, yeah, there's that, the black and white, and then but also the kid with like the claws, like he's just like a ninja.
Oh yeah, from the Mangaverse.
Yeah. So I just think it's cool that they were just continuing to acknowledge that. So, and I know we were just talking about, sorry if I'm all over the place, but I know we were just talking about how when people kind of get lazy and you sort of have like a female version of the same hero, same archetype. What is it about Spider-Gwen, that kind of separates her from the other? Because she's definitely here to stay. Like, the feedback from Spider-Gwen is just phenomenal.
I think it's just like the visuals. Like, her costume is really awesome.
I mean, it is a pretty dope
also
costume.
Kind of like, it's like this alternate universe where kind of like the story is flipped, where it's like Peter's kind of like a side character and like she's the main character. So that's like kind of interesting.
I like that that Peter was her Uncle Ben. Like that he was the thing that she couldn't save.
So in the Spider-Gwen standalone issues, does it take place on her world, or does she get thrown into the 616 somehow?
Well, in her one shot, it was in her world, which is cool because she's.
I read that, but I mean, like, because Spider-Gwen's had issues going on for now.
I haven't read that ongoing.
The ongoing is back in her world.
Okay, that's kind of what I was wondering.
Yeah, sorry. You're like, I know that, Paul. Hadoy. But I think it's kind of cool. She's like a drummer, like in like a punk band.
I think a lot of that like vibe of comic has been very popular, and I've enjoyed it as well. It's kind of reminiscent of like Scott Pilgrim, the Babstar, Batgirl. Just kind of like these fun, more stylized,
a little punky.
Yeah, a little punky.
Yeah,
fun, like teenage girl focused books. Clearly, there's a market for it. So I mean,
yeah, the kids love it. I mean, I do too, though, because I mean, Gwen Stacy. I mean, she was always this footnote in the Spider-Man history where she was the big loss for Peter. Couldn't save her dad, then he couldn't save her, and the Green Goblin, and the bridge, and I like that this kind of gives her. It's almost like, again, she's
new life, second life.
Yeah, and that she's not a plot point. It's not this. Yeah. She's not a MacGuffin, like this thing that has to be lost for the hero to kind of really dig their heels.
Being stuffed in a fridge.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And I love her story, and it's a little bit like Batgirl, where her father's the commissioner, and he doesn't like the Ghost Spider.
I never even thought about that. Like a decade, it was like, oh yeah, she's like Batgirl.
Right. But I mean, in all fairness, I mean, like her dad was always a cop, so it wasn't like it didn't feel like it was too much of a ripoff. It was kind of more like a coincidence that like, if we're gonna bring her back, her dad's already a cop, blah blah blah. But yeah, no, I just think it's great. Yeah, that it's like a second chance at like kind of, doing something right. And I just wish that there's more inclusion, I guess, with her in the regular universe soon. Like, I know there's like the Spider-Geddon, which is like the sequel where I don't know, the inhibitors or whatever the fuck they're called, inheritors. I keep calling them inhibitors, inebriators, defibrillators. They're back, and this time it's personal, I guess. But I'm jumping ahead. I did, and speaking of the side tie-ins, I really did like the Scarlet Spiders. Did you read that, Rob?
Yeah, that's when they go to the weird future worlds where that other brother is.
Right, and this is where I like the idea of like Kane and Ben Reilly working together, and it was with the Ultimate Black Widow.
Yeah.
I liked them working together. I didn't like their explanation as to why they keep coming back. They just keep cloning themselves, and so when they die, they automatically go into a new body.
Which
Well, that's
makes
dumb.
no fucking sense to me. Like, that
No.
was their excuse for how the inheritors are whatever. And then at the end, they're just like, oh, this crystal is my dad.
Wait, sorry. Going back a little bit, you're saying that Kane and Ben Riley are cloning themselves constantly? Or
No,
like
the-
the
No,
inheritors?
the inheritors.
That's what they're
Oh.
inheriting. Clones.
And crystals.
And they sent
Crystal
the
dads.
clone Spider-Men unknowingly to find out about the cloning operation.
Oh, okay.
But I guess
Did
they're
they?
cloning them because their souls go back to crystals or something. The
Okay.
underlying plot to this, real dumb. Like,
This is getting very convoluted.
it's
already.
very convoluted. The bad guys aren't that great. I'll probably never read it again, but I liked seeing all the different Spider-Men joke around with each other.
Spider-Man Attack of the Clones.
Although,
Yeah.
again, even though I think it is kind of lame that they made, like, 616 Spider-Man, like, the chosen one. Like, I think it would have
Well,
been
you
cooler.
knew that was coming.
He's Spider-Man
Wouldn't-
Prime.
I
He's
think it would have been
Neo.
cool if, like, I don't know, they gave Miles or someone kind of like the show, and Peter just kind of had to sit back and be like, oh shit, there's like doper Spider-Man than me. And then him
Right.
and Superior Spider-Man would have to be like, yeah, I guess he is the Superior Spider-Man, huh? Eh?
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm totally down with that. And I actually kind of feel like Miles didn't even really have that big of a role to play in this.
Yeah, he was just out with the other young kids and then 66 verse and getting the
He
spider
was sitting
car,
at the kids'
and,
table.
which I thought was kind of lame because Miles is awesome.
And Miles is awesome. And he's hanging out with, like, I love how there's, like, a Wild West version of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't more for Miles to do.
And this came out in 2015. Like, Miles was like established and super popular at this point. You'd assume.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And this was right before Secret Wars, because I know that they were talking about the incursions happening.
Spider
on top
UK,
right. Yeah.
the Captain Britain Spider-Man was, he was
Which-
talking about the universes disappearing. And at the end of it, he said, my universe isn't there anymore because of the convergences.
Yeah. I love the idea of there being so that kind of makes sense that it kind of gives you a better idea of where it's happening in the grander Marvel scheme. I love the idea of there being a British Spider-Man. Granted, it's not
Yeah.
a British Peter Parker,
Mhm.
but I just love that, like, yeah, isn't it? Wait, is that like a spider monkey? Is he British? Like, and I love how. Did anyone kind of feel like maybe they were kind of tiptoeing on possibly being a little racist when it came to, like, Indian Spider-Man with his, like, Aladdin pants and, like, the
I
shoes?
don't know. I think it's more like we're just running out of ideas. Let's make them different in any way
Yeah,
that we
from
can.
What was
different-
his name? Like Peter, like Parkour or something like that. Like, it was.
Avatar.
Yeah. I felt the fact I was reading, like, oh, is that a little racist? And then I'm reading it. I'm reading him like he's a boo. I'm like, oh man, no, I'm just making it racist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was right. I think they're just trying to find
Any variations they
yes,
can make.
and- Any
just
possible
like
iteration.
the United Spider Verse.
Right.
Well, here's our Russian Spider-Man, and he's just like he has like a mustache over the mask and a thick winter hat. Look at Mother
Here's a
Russia.
literal spider god.
Yeah, it's Mother Russia. That's all I have.
But yeah,
But yeah. There's like a version where like Groot is Spider-Man.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, I love how I forget where I saw this. It has to be in Spider-Verse. I don't know where else I would have seen this, but there is a bunch of spiders that come together and make like a Spiders Man, where like they all yeah, it's like it's a little bit like
Man of spiders.
yeah, it's like that Rick and Morty episode where like all the ants come together to make an Ant-Man. It's like they did what they do that with spiders. I mean, I do like the idea of just all of these. Like, I even love that they brought in the six-armed Spider-Man, or six-armed Spider-Man. That was great. It was like if he just never healed himself.
And then Old Man Logan, Spider Girl.
Yeah, just like old and crotchety.
yeah. There's the weird steampunk one.
Oh,
who has,
that's
like
right.
The claws.
Yeah, it's like Gotham by Gaslight
Mm-hmm.
And the
version.
assassin Spider Man with the bullet shooters. Bullet web shooters.
Yeah. God, I forgot just how many friggin'
because there was also the 2 Spider-Verse comics that were literally just really short, like little blips of different ones.
Yeah,
So
they were like they're like the team ups.
Yeah, there was those, and there's also the ones literally just like every 3 issues is a different Spider-Man. There's like the newspaper comic version.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked that, and I liked that they acknowledged the old '60s cartoon. Like they even had the meme of J. Jonah Jameson, wanting pictures of Spider-Man. I thought was interesting too that they had a version where Uncle Ben was bitten by the spider.
Oh.
And so and Peter Parker was the one that died. But rather than being like with great power, he's like, well, fuck this, I'm done.
I have nothing else to lose.
yeah, pretty much. And he's from Earth 315 or 316, where Rob said it was, where he was in that vault, his own vault, and he was the only survivor in like the nuclear holocaust.
Damn.
Yeah,
so he's lost everything.
Yeah,
okay.
And just people in vaults. Wasn't there an Aunt May Spider-Man too?
Not surprised.
I think there was.
I think stylistically, like of the one-shot wise, the Punk Spider or the Anarchy Spider-Man one is really
he has the best
cool.
costume.
Best costume. The art is friggin' rad.
Mm-hmm. As it should if you're doing a Punk Spider-Man.
Like the Venom corpse or whatever, how they all have like the little tendrils popping out. And...
and it's Green Goblin with Venom. And did you catch the "We're making America great again"?
Yup.
No.
That is something that legit Norman Osborn says, and I love that they fight them with music, which makes sense because they get the symbiotes. Yeah, so that was like, I want to see a full-length Spider-Punk arc. Because
if it's all in this like style, it'd be really cool.
Yeah, and he's black under the mask too, isn't he? Isn't he like a black Punk Spider-Man? I think that's even just like because the last panel he takes off his mask and you're like, whoa.
His name is Hobart Brown. Kind of got lazy on the last name, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I always imagine it looking like a Sting or a Billy Idol type under the mask. So when he was black, I was like, nice.
But yeah, just stylistically, it's fucking cool. So cool.
Yeah.
And I like how the whole time he's always just like, yeah, fuck him, and he's just like a badass the whole time.
Yeah, right. He's like a really cool supporting like character. Yeah, just sort of being in the background, be like, yeah, let's do it. Fuck these guys. Fight the power.
But yeah, so you said that they made a sequel to this with the Inheritors.
Yeah, it's Spider-Geddon. There was like a road to Spider-Geddon, and
so if this happened right before Secret Wars, and Secret Wars destroyed the multiverse, but these guys that follow the threads of the multiverse come back, I'm confused. Marvel hurts my brain.
Dude, I can't even, as much as I like this, I can't remember how it ended.
Secret Wars?
No,
Spider-Verse.
So the brother Karn, the man in the iron mask with the pitchfork comes back, and he's like, I'm sick of this. So he actually helps the spiders beat his siblings. And then Dr. Octopus thinks it's a good idea to kill the spider. And so he kills the big web guy, and then they take the mask off, and it turns out that it was Karn from the future. So Karn becomes a spider again to start weaving the threads again.
What?
But what happened to the defibrillators? Like, where did they go? Did they go back?
I think they're all dead. Oh no, they threw them into the radioactive world and said, "Find a vault. Bye-bye."
Bye.
So they were all in that vault.
And I guess they, as Jeff Goldblum said, life finds a way, and so they're back for revenge or whatever. Okay, now I remember. Yeah, and then
also they showed Superior Spider-Man blip back into an issue of Superior Spider-Man where he like disappeared into something. So they so Dan Slott kind of tied it all together, which I thought was cool. I went back and read that issue just to see what the hell was going on. But.
Yeah, that was smart because I remember because I read Superior Spider-Man, obviously before Spider-Verse, and I do remember that issue where he kind of gets thrown into the future and Spider-Man 2099. So they made it so that when he came back, like he wouldn't remember. It was like he like came. It was like they pulled it Back to the Future where he came back like right when he left,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't have any memory of all that fun stuff. Got it. Got it.
Yep. So, I mean, it was nice to read all this new Spider-Man stuff because I had been so out of the loop. The only Spider-Man recently I read the first issue of the post-Secret War Spider-Man when he has like the glowy suit and he is basically Tony Stark. And I was like,
In China.
this ain't my Spider-Man. And I fell off again. And I've read a couple of the issues of the new issues with like Ryan Otley doing the work or the artwork, which I thought it's good, but it's like the first couple issues were so obviously like, we're going back to basics. It's literally all we say, all these issues. I was like, I get it.
Yeah. You know, one thing I did like about that though, and this sort of this brings up something I said earlier, was that, you know, when Dr. Octopus was Peter Parker, he got his master's degree. And then now all is said and done, Peter is accused of plagiarism. and it's like, oh, okay, so someone finally acknowledged that he wasn't talking and writing the way he normally does.
Yep.
So for that reason, I did like it. But yeah, like I read I mean, honestly, it's also written by the guy who gave us Secret Empire, so I'm very hesitant about what he's gonna do with this. But
I forgot Secret Empire was a thing that happened until you just said it.
Yeah.
Who wrote Secret Empire again?
Bad, evil, Hail Hydra Cap.
Yeah, Cap was a Nazi.
Nick Spencer?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like Nick Spencer, just not the Captain America stuff.
Yeah, I haven't read enough of his other work, so I'm not going to judge.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Morning Glories.
Oh, he wrote Morning Glories?
Yeah.
I think I like Morning Glories.
It's read just Eternal Mind Screw.
Exactly. I read the first 5 trades and I was like, this just reminds me of Lost, but not story-wise, just the confusingness aspect of it.
Exactly.
And that's actually why I'm hesitant to read Morning Glories, because I just like...
It's fun. It's a nice mental workout.
It's like every issue's a cliffhanger, so you have to keep reading it. And it was entertaining. Yeah. Like, I don't... Okay,
Is it still ongoing, or is it done?
It's not done. It's just on an indefinite hiatus.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so maybe I'll give him a second chance. I'm still mad at him for Hydra Cap, though.
Mm-hmm. I have so many problems with how they handled it.
Yeah, but not to shy too far away from Spider-Verse.
I gotta say, I think Dan Slott writes Peter Parker pretty well. I understand why he was the Spider guy for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems to really love him. Yeah.
I wasn't wild about Spider Island, but you know what? They can't all be home runs. I think he definitely is continuing the spirit of Peter Parker and why we're all drawn to him. And I bet Marvel's going to love him for thinking up of the Spider-Verse stuff and Spider-Gwen. And, now there's an animated movie out for Spider-Verse. And so,
which is fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta see that soon. I'm jealous you guys saw it.
Yeah, it is very good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so we'll be doing a review episode next for Spider-Verse. But all in all, I don't know, Rob, if you had to rate this, Uncle Ben being the worst because he's dead, and Miles being the best, where do you rate Spider-Verse? And also, I know that rating system makes no sense. So
I rated a dead Uncle Ben.
I think if you have a Marvel Unlimited subscription, it's worth the read because, like Paul said, you've made the investment. It's right there. It's all there. The art is fucking great. Anything that Oliver Coip... I assume I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's probably like Olivier Coip...
I say Coipel.
Coipel. It sounds like it would be sounded better than I'm saying it. Oliver Koppel. He is just
Coipel.
So fucking good. The art alone, and just the creative ways that they create new Spider-Men and illustrate them all interacting is really cool. I think it has fun moments. I think the whole kind of plot and driving force and characters that aren't spider people are kind of lame, but yeah.
Yeah. I almost kind of feel inspired to write my own Spider-Verse fan fiction.
Do it.
That's just all I do. I just sit around all day and think about what I would have done to make it better. I outlined in my head, because I'm a nerd and it was my day off. I outlined how I would have done Thor: The Dark World, but I'll save that for another episode. To be continued. See, I can be like Nick Spencer. Thor was really with Hydra. Yeah,
That's why he wasn't worthy.
Yeah, right.
Wah,
See,
wah.
Rob's on the same page. Yeah, that's I think I agree with Rob about Spider-Verse. You know, when I first started reading Spider-Verse, I remember I bought the trade because I was driving across country. And, you know, when I wasn't working, when I came to Denver, I was reading it, and I could not get into it. And that's where I went back and sort of reread everything after one last, whatever the hell they called it.
Wait, Spider-Man came out this year?
Yeah.
All right, I see.
So I think having gone back and read everything and then reading Spider-Verse, I'm like, okay, like I'm kind of more invested in it now. And I'm always down for Spider-Man 2099, whatever he's doing. And I will say that I think this is such a great time to be a Spider-Man fan. Not a Spider-Man because, you know, someone's trying to kill you, but being a Spider-Man fan because I was reading Into the Spider-Verse, and then the PS4 game came out, which is phenomenal.
I'm bummed I don't have a PS4.
Oh, man.
Same.
Oh, my God, you guys. This game is so good. I'm not a big gamer. Like, I have a PS4 because, like, oh, I can just stream everything from this, and it's a Blu-ray player. It is so good. Like, this is the longest I've, like, stayed with a game. I was like, this is too hard. Like, Paul, I didn't press the start button. But it's so great. I mean, just like the swinging around New York City. It's so great. The story is awesome. So I think reading Spider-Verse, playing the game, you know, and then the movie coming out, and, you know, especially with, you know, Stan Lee's passing, I've been revisiting a lot of Spider-Man stuff. So I started, like, watching, like, the 90s cartoon. Like, so I think just all this culmination, it finally brought me back to a place where I was before One More Day happened. Like
It's all it's about.
Like, I feel like I kind of, because of the game and the Spider-Verse and the movie, I've, like, kind of fallen in love with Spider-Man again. And it's great. It's like greeting an old friend.
You're healing.
I am. So, yeah, it's fun. And this is definitely not one of those scenarios where you have to... It's not like, is the book better than the movie? Because the movie is so different. It just sort of, like, takes the concept of different Spider-Men and just rolls with it. But, I don't know, not a bad read. I think it's fun if you just want to see, you know, Spider-Ham and Spider-Monkey and all these spiders coming together. It's pretty rad. Now, Chandler, where exactly did you leave off when you were reading this?
I'm on Amazing Spider-Man issue 7, where it's kind of like a crossover with like Silk and Ms. Marvel, and that's about it.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's pretty early on-ish.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Well, I think
it was hard.
keep reading it because, you know, Rob and I liked it. I think hopefully you'll hit a point where you're like, okay, I'm in it to win it and to see it to the end.
Thank you. I'll definitely keep reading.
Good.
It's a promise to the listeners. I will continue reading Spider-Verse.
That a boy.
You can check in on me later if you want. It's totally fine.
Yeah. So apart from all, you know, reading the Spider-Verse, what has been grabbing your attention this week? What have you been reading? What have you been watching? What have you been doing?
I've been watching. I started The Gifted, the Fox mutant drama based off the X-Men. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, like, I like the acting. It's kind of like in a world where like the X-Men like disappeared somehow. I guess that's part of the mystery long term.
Okay.
But so far it's pretty solid. I mean, no complaints.
And that's with like Polaris and like Blink.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, exactly. I've been reading. I've been reading Astro City for about a couple months now, and I finally got through the Dark Ages, which is like a super dense, like Spider-Verse, like super slow, not even convoluted, just like very hard to get through, like 2-book series. And I finally finished it, and I'm on the other side. So now I'm in like the contemporary relaunch of Astro City, which was like in 2013. So like that's going a lot more smoothly, and it's pretty cool so far. I'm gonna keep reading it until the end. So
cool. I've always wanted to read Astro City, but I just never knew where to start. Are you just reading it by trade? Are you using Comixology?
Yeah, by trades. You
Okay.
read it by trade. So you start with Life in the Big City, which is like the first like trade.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, you can like read up. You can look online like Astro City reading order, and they'll list all the trades.
I might actually have the Big City. I don't know. I'll just take a look. But that's something I've always wanted to read.
Yeah, Astro City's been on my list forever.
It's classic.
Yeah. If you ever get the chance, definitely read Planetary.
Ooh, yeah. I've been meaning to read that like forever.
Planetary is really good, especially because it just kind of like ties into like other like kind of universes and other cool pop culture references. Like there's like an episode where they like investigate the legend of Batman. Like it's great. Yeah, Planetary is a lot of fun. Yeah, for some reason it just kind of that triggered that in my brain.
It's a Vertigo series now. I mean, like because like Astro City was Wildstorm, now it's like Vertigo and
right. Yeah, and that was with like Stormwatch and Authority and all that.
Yeah.
Good stoof.
Stoof.
Yeah. Rob, what have you been reading? Anything fun or watching anything? Doing anything?
This week mostly reading has been all the Spider-Verse stuff. Been watching a lot of movies, just random ones. I watched Home Alone today because it is the day, 2 days before Christmas. So I was like, let's get some Christmas stuff going. Yeah, Home Alone is still great.
Yep. Have you seen the new Google ad?
I have. And I was like, Macaulay Culkin looks healthy.
Yeah, he's looking good. I'm happy for him.
Thank goodness.
But yeah, so that holds up. What else did I watch today? I watched a lot of terrible Christmas movies. Basically, whatever was free to watch on streaming services. So Home Alone, I have the Blu-ray, so that was just, you got to be safe. You got to have Home Alone. So I watched A Bad Mom's Christmas.
Was it bad?
Yeah, it is so over the top that it's... I don't know. I was laughing. It's one of those movies you laugh like, wow, that's real dumb. And then by the end, it's just everything's so dumb. You're just like, you just become part of the dumb. I watched Office Christmas Party, which is also so dumb. And it's like half the movie is just a montage of people like getting drunk and dancing, which isn't really my cup of taste, my taste or cup of tea, if you will, for movies. Right. After seeing Aquaman, there was some Jason Momoa movie where he's like in a cabin in the woods in Alaska.
Oh, it's like a Netflix series?
It's called Braven, I think.
Oh,
no, it's a movie. And it's literally, so he like goes up to a cabin with his dad to close it for the winter. And they find a bunch of drugs that had been left there. But the drug dealers come back for the drugs.
Oh, shit.
And it's literally like, they don't give any of these characters a backstory, but they're instantly ready to fight to the death in the wilderness. So it's just like Jason Momoa running around throwing axes at people and his like old dad sniping people. And then his wife shows up randomly and starts shooting people with crossbors. I'm like, this is ridiculous, but
I want to see this.
It was
that
entertaining.
sounds really fun, actually.
It's on Amazon Prime for people. It's called Brazen. Okay. Or not Brazen, Braven.
Braven. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's a series that he's doing where it's
called Frontier, I think. I always see
right,
it pop
that's
up.
what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
But yeah, this is just kind of like one of those short. It's like 90 minutes. It's short and sweet action movie. Cool. It's super easy to follow, but it's fun. Jason Momoa is just he's a charming dude. He's easy to watch.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
And I saw Aquaman, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more in depth. But I did enjoy it. It was very fun.
Cool. Speaking of Jason Momoa and Spider-Man, in my head, I always thought he would have been a good Kraven the Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, there's still time.
Yeah, it could happen.
Yeah. But speaking of Christmas movies, I watched Die Hard, which is a Christmas movie.
I think I'm gonna watch that tomorrow.
Eternal debate.
Dude, good stuff. And you know what? And I think Die Hard has aged well. I think because there isn't a... I mean, granted, it's the 80s, so, like, there's one... I remember I was watching it, and in the scene where Al is, like, buying all those Twinkies, and he leaves the gas station, and he looks out at, Nakatomi Plaza, and I went, holy shit, look at the gas prices in the 80s in California. Like, so it's definitely like, wow, this would have been a different movie if they made it today. Like when they cut the phone line so that nobody can call out of the building, you know. So I mean, it's aged maybe not great in that sense, but it doesn't hurt the movie at all. Like I think it's a really excellent time capsule. The action is so well choreographed. It's so well executed, and I've seen it a gazillion times, but I feel like it doesn't really ever make you kind of like suspend your disbelief. Like I feel like everything looks like it's plausible, at least as far as Hollywood action movies go. And Bruce Willis is just fucking great in it. I feel bad I'm blanking on the actor's name who plays the cop, but it's just
Carl Winslow.
Yeah. It was just so well done. It is just an example of great writing. You know, it's not like where you have to look at poor CGI. And it conveys so much. Like everyone just has just enough backstory to keep them interesting, so it's not like a mindless action movie. Like my favorite scene is, Bruce Willis is talking to Al, and you know, shit's obviously not going great. He's pulling pieces of glass from his feet, and you know, he says, you know, Al, I'm starting to get a bad feeling, you know, that he's not going to make it out, and he's trying to think of all these things that he wants Al to tell his wife. You know, and it's sort of the cliches, you know, tell her that she's the best thing that ever happened to a schmuck like me, whatever. And then finally he goes, you know what? Tell her she's heard me say I love you 1,000 times. She never heard me say I'm sorry. And I love that line. It's such a great line. And it's so well delivered. And I think it's in that same scene where, where he's asking Al why he's a desk jockey, and he talks about that time that he had shot a kid, you know, and that was sort of like, well, you know, and he has a great line where he says, you know, in academy, they train you for everything except for living with a mistake, and it's just such great. It's such a great bromance. It's like it's such a great emotional moment with all of this action going on around it, and I just love it. Like, as far as I'm concerned, Die Hard might be one of those cases where it's like a near perfect movie, and it is a Christmas movie because at its heart it's about a man trying to be with his family for Christmas, and then Alan Rickman happens, and so yes, that's what I've been watching recently, and as far as reading goes, yeah, it's primarily been Spider-Verse. I've been continuing reading Spider-Man after Spider-Verse, so I'm kind of pushing through Spider-Man being rich and in China.
China.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've read this much of the Dan Slott stuff. I want to see where it goes, and I also want to read up to the whole Red Goblin thing. I want to know what that's about.
There's a Red Goblin now?
Yeah. It's gonna
the Goblin Corps.
It's gonna be, yeah, exactly. It's gonna be like, here's your orange goblin and your green goblin and hobgoblin and beige goblin and
Back in my day, we had two goblins.
Yeah,
Magenta Goblin.
It actually looks like if the Goblin and the Carnage made a thing.
Oh, that's really scary.
And I saw Venom. I rented it for $2 at Redbox. And not bad. I think my expectations.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think my expectations were so low. I was like, this can't be good. Then I was like, oh, you know what? I actually, I had a lot of fun. Tom Hardy, of course, is great, despite that ridiculous, whatever it is, that accent. You know, everybody's got problems.
Everybody's got problems.
Oh, yeah, I'm just a regular guy. I'm trying to make ends meet. You know, I got my girl, I got my apartment.
Got my thing, got your thing.
Yeah, everybody's got their thing. But because it's Tom Hardy, it's charming. Michelle Williams, I don't know why she's in this movie. I feel like, because I think she's a great actress. I feel like she's just kind of wasted. She's one of those examples of she's just there for plot.
Like a weird wig.
But I like the relationship he has with Venom. I like the look of Venom. I didn't hate myself for watching this movie. And before I saw it, I would ask people, is there any way this could tie into the Marvel Universe? And at any point, they're like, oh, God, no way. But I saw it, and I was like, I still think this could be tied in somehow. It's not like...
Yeah, it can still be incorporated.
Yeah, it's not like...
because it's its own thing. But all you have to do is like drop like any sort of like plot point or cameo, and it's like, oh, okay, we're connected.
Right. So Venom was fun, but that Eminem song, that shit kills me, and I like Eminem. He's like, Venom, gonna get him.
Venom, venom, num num num.
Venom, gonna get him wearing denim.
Everybody's got problems.
He's got problems. Denim. Venom, sarcasm. But check it out. It's great. I think it's a great Redbox rental. Oh, and the mid credit scene.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna drop Sony right now.
Go for it.
So, at one point, Eddie Brock actually has a successful. He has his own like Vice type show, where he's like, yeah, he run him in the Congo, and like, but it works. I know it sounds crazy.
Instead of
like,
hipsters, it's like weird.
It's Eddie Brock,
fake New Yorker.
Yeah, and Eddie Brock's like kind of history. He's got a bunch of bracelets, but when they do this like opening credits for a show like the Brock Report, it's like, oh, I can totally see this on HBO. Like it works. It's believable. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. So things get better. He gets his show back, and one of the post credit scenes is he drives up to this prison to interview the serial killer. Which of course, if it's Venom and there's a serial killer involved, that's Cletus Cassidy. So it's like you're not really surprised. Like, oh, this is gonna be Carnage. Who else could it fucking be? He walks into the prison, and you see this fucking ridiculous wig. It is like it's like Lucille Ball. Like it's bananas. It's like Lucille.
It's pretty bad.
It's like Lucille Ball and Sideshow Bob.
And this is for Cletus.
Kid. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like some weird, like parted, like.
Is it like
it's just
like Miss Frizzle hair?
Dude, just Google
it. A little bit, yeah.
Google it. You'll see it.
It's pretty bad.
But it's fucking Woody Harrelson.
It's mom's hair.
Like, Woody Harrelson is playing Cletus Cassidy. And I was like, holy shit, they got Woody Harrelson for this one cameo? And I love, like...
First, I typed in Woody Harrelson Venom, and it's a picture of the redheaded witch from, oh my god, my brain just turned off.
Hocus Pocus?
Yes, Hocus Pocus.
Fucking Bette Midler.
I can't even find a picture of him in the movie, but that is what shows up. That's hilarious.
I think Bette Midler's character from Hocus Pocus as Carnage is kind of amazing.
Is a better Cletus Cassidy.
Oh my god. But I just love his line. He goes, you better believe...
Everybody's got problems.
Yeah.
He said, I have my own thing.
No, he says, you better believe... No, he says, when I get out of here, you better believe there's going to be carnage.
Wait for it.
Looks in
so excited for the sequel now.
He looks in the camera, winks, and it's like...
The goat...
Carnage.
Spoiler alert, the goat that turns and winks at the camera in the Aquaman trailer is in the final cut of the film, just in case you were wondering.
Oh, thank you.
Good, I'm glad.
Yeah, it made me pretty happy.
Yeah, it makes me happy too. I'll just see if I can find this Woody Harrelson as... Oh, Woody Harrelson Venom.
There's a picture of David Bowie. There's a picture of...
Oh, I saw the Ben Midler. Oh my god, that Bette Midler thing is hilarious.
I'll watch Venom at some... It seems like a movie that will inevitably end up on HBO Go in 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's so fun. I feel like if it came out in 2003 or 2004, it would be the best movie ever.
Yeah.
But, it's so I think collectively as a comic movie going audience are we're so much more sophisticated about it, and it's hard to watch it sometimes. I don't know.
It just seems...
If that makes any sense.
If it came out in the era of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, it seemed like it would have been more at home.
Exactly. That's just, yeah.
I just sent...
you can't come back. You can't go back after Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just sent a picture in the group chat where you can kind of see the wig, but it's but yeah. Bottom line, Venom's fun. Go watch it. Go watch Spider-Verse. Go read Spider-Verse. Go see Aquaman. Team Good Times. Anything else to promote or to push on the show before we wrap up?
Happy holidays?
Oh
Yeah,
my god, that's right.
enjoy your federal
No,
holiday.
the nominational holiday season.
Yeah, enjoy getting paid on your day off if you are not celebrating a holiday.
Or if the
And you're-
government shut down your job.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Sorry, too soon.
a little bit.
Well, anyway, tell us how the government shutdown is affecting you at WednesdayComicPodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And as always, enjoy your issues.